Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. It's time to have a look at a bunch of leaks for the next major update from the Chinese GigaChad. Basically, talking about the tied ground tech tree that's going to be coming in the next major update. And basically, we're getting into update season, which means basically a bunch of leaks are going to start popping up, with the first one being a pretty cool one and really interesting to see. By the way, there does seem to be a Xbox sale which is going on right now, so if you are interested in that, make sure to check that out. It's a publisher sale, a lot of packs are on discount, and then also there does seem to be that they're going to do one of those community spotlight posts once again, and they're gearing up for it. So in the data mines, there's actually that kind of like top secret profile banner and a few other kind of decals which are coming along. Looks like they're going to do a pack alongside of it, so you can get some either free stuff or paid stuff by looking at the content. I'll cover that when it appears, but right now just letting you know it was in the data mines and it's probably about. So next major update, obviously in September, so usually around this time we start getting some devlogs, and the leak that is here from the good old Chinese GigaChad is basically a bunch of Thai vehicles. Now, Thai Air got added to Japan pretty recently as a subtech tree, a huge addition and a great addition. I think we can all agree that it's been really, really nice to basically see the Thai vehicles in the game because it's bolstered the Japanese tech tree really, really well. Well, it looks like it's now time for Ground Thailand to do basically the same thing in a more limited way, at least according to this leak, for the Japanese ground tech tree. So before we get into the vehicles, as always, it would be very kind of you to subscribe and also like the video. Let's get started. The first vehicle that you see before you is the VT4. Now, the VT4 is actually known as the MBT 3000, which I think is actually a better name, but basically that's kind of like the prototype, and then the VT4 is the production model. This was an export tank that the Chinese made. It's very similar to the MBT 2000. It's basically a further modernization of that, based on the ZTZ-99 philosophy instead of kind of the older ones. You have, of course, the Alkalid, which is already in the game as the 11.0 premium for the Chinese. You also have the MBT 2000, which is there too. The MBT 3000 will be coming in for Thailand, but unfortunately it says it's going to be a premium, which kind of sucks. So basically what this vehicle has is very similar characteristics to the ZTZ-99s. So has the automatic transmission, has FY4 ERA, has the autoloader, has the 125mm gun. This is the export version of the ZTZ-99. That's basically the way to put it, and should be quite nice. The A version specifically, whereas with the MBT 2000, it's more similar to the 2 and the 3. This one is a bit more kind of modernized, a bit more further on, and it has actually been produced from 2017, so this is an incredibly modern vehicle. This vehicle also is used by a few countries, so Thailand is obviously one of the users, but also you have Pakistan being the main user of this, and then also Nigeria. So if this comes in, it would be really cool. I just obviously don't want it to be a premium because that would kind of suck. Hopefully something else does about it. A friendly face is also here, which should not be a surprise. It is, of course, the M60A3 TTS. TTS being, of course, the thermal sight. So this will be another M60 into the game. The A3 obviously having the cupola and a few other kind of improvements compared to some of the other models. But basically, yeah, it's a bog standard. You can find this in many tech trees with a few different names, but basically the main ones are in China and also in America. And it looks like the Japanese tree will also get a Thai version. It's not a really interesting vehicle. Like, I'm not going to lie, it's pretty boring and pretty dull. It's just an M60A3 with the thermal sight. But there is actually some other M60s which are slightly different for Thailand. You have this one. This is the TIFS, which is basically designed around a addition of a thermal system inside of the actual kind of setup as well. So basically a better thermal fire control system, and then also have access to better munitions since it is a more modern version. And then also Thailand went even a step further and they put ERA on their M60s, and as you can see, they just added a bunch of wood to the side of them, and this is kind of interesting and would be pretty cool as either an event vehicle or just as something which could be kind of added to the game as a bit different. One of the things that the Israeli tech tree has at least taught me is Gaijin is trying to find ways of taking vehicles which are copy-paste and making them at least look visually different, even if they don't play any differently. And this could be one of the ways of doing it, just taking the M60A3 and adding a bunch of wood to it. So kind of fun that Thailand did that as a little bit of extra protection. The next vehicle is once again another one, which you would have seen many times before when it comes to War Thunder, the M163, the good old PVADS. So this vehicle, it's a rotary 20mm. It has the tracking radar, very much designed to just put a lot of lead in the air and see what happens. And it's based off the M113. It was farmed out to a lot of countries for kind of close AA for, the brigades and everything like that. And Thailand was no different. Thailand bought a lot of American equipment, and they also bought a lot of equipment from everywhere else. But at least right now, that is, just a bit more focused on America. So yeah, just the pivots, nothing too crazy. The next one is also American, but it is also crazy, and one of the vehicles I've been looking forward to for a very long time when it comes to War Thunder. So this vehicle is the Stingray, if you didn't know, the Stingray light tank. And this was a kind of like, I suppose, a private venture vehicle that was developed by Cadillac Gauge. And basically, it's very similar to the CCVL that we have in the game, where it has the 105, it has the very light chassis, and then also at the same time, it has access to just your standard crew layout for a light vehicle. But the fact that it has the 105, as you can see here, the fact that it has access to the 50 cal, it has great mobility as well. This has a really fun Detroit diesel engine in it with a lot of horsepower moving this thing around. This should be really, really cool to play. And the interesting thing about Thailand is the only nation that actually operates this. So this was one of those things which was supposed to be operated by a bunch of people. As I said, a private venture, which kind of was designed for export, but also for procurement for the US, and they just never did. If you know the history of the US with their light tanks, especially nowadays, they have been a bit up and down in terms of what they have liked, what they haven't, and then what projects they've pushed forward and which ones they've annihilated. Most recently, the Booker got the can, and the Stingray was another one where the US weren't too interested. But this has been in service since the late 1980s, has all of the modern equipment that you would want from a light vehicle, and has a hell of a punching power, and I think will be actually really fun. I understand that the Japanese tech tree already has some really cool stuff. It has like the Type 16s and everything like that, but for me, I really, really like how this vehicle is, just because it's similar to the CCVL, and the CCVL was super fun. Then we have, of course, the classic. So whenever we talk about the Thailand tech tree, there is a nation that is always brought up at the same time, and this nation is, of course, Ukraine. The reason for this is because Ukraine has exported successfully a bunch of vehicles to Thailand, such as the Oplot, and also you have the BTR-4 and things like this. Now, this is the BM Oplot-T. This is the exported version of the T-84, which is, in Thai service. It was recently actually used in the combat against Cambodia for the first time. So basically it got to have a bit of a run out to see how it would go. But what this is a Ukrainian-built kind of modernization of the T-80. What they did is they took the T-80UD, which we have in game in the Russian tech tree, and instead of keeping the same turret, they decided to change the turret and put on a version of it that they kind of preferred. They kept everything else basically the same, nothing too crazy, but then they did do further modifications and upgrades to it, which added different systems and basically just made it a little bit better. So what you're getting out of the Oplot is something that's pretty similar to the T80UD, apart from it should have slightly different protection on the turret. The 125mm still stands, so that is still the main gun on the main Oplot. There is another Oplot, which for me, I think is actually one of the coolest vehicles that I've ever had a look at, and it's the Yataghan, basically the T-84 120 Yataghan. This is a mixture of kind of Western ideas and Eastern ideas, and one of the big ones is the Yataghan uses the 120mm, so therefore it could use standard NATO ammunition, because they were looking to export it basically to everywhere to become an export provider. And Thailand was one of the people who bought the standard T-84, but nobody, I don't think, has bought the Yataghan. It was just a one-off prototype, and it never really went anywhere. So the cool thing about this vehicle, it has a really good transmission, meaning that it can actually go forward pretty well, and also it has a really good power to weight at the same time. So even though this may seem like a T80, it will definitely be different from it with its 1200 horsepower engine, and also with its ability to kind of wander around the place. The other thing to also mention about this is there are different versions of the Oplot that we can get. You have the M, and then you have the E, and then you just have the standard one, and then the Yataghan itself, and they all have slightly different things to them. So would be kind of cool depending on what we see. But if all of these vehicles come to the Japanese tech tree, this is a massive boost to the Japanese tech tree, and that's exactly what you want, right? You want these vehicles to be played, and the way that they will be played is in the Japanese side of things. I hope we get some more Thai voices in the game for ground forces. I'm pretty sure they added some, but it would be nice to get more. And then also at the same time, I hope people end up playing the Japanese tech tree because of it. Nowadays, the Japanese tech tree has a bunch of really cool vehicles, even though a lot of them are like copy-paste of each other, like all the Type 74s or all the Type 16s or all the STAs, which are very similar, apart from the three. But it would be cool to see more people just enjoy it, and that would be really nice. Also, it's nice to see some Ukrainian stuff. Obviously, for the longest time, since the invasion or the proper invasion of Ukraine, it's very, very tough to work out where a lot of these vehicles are going to go. And it seems like they're going to put them in nations which use them, which, I mean, I think is the perfect compromise for getting the vehicles into the game, and also for seeing them in the future. So look forward to these in the next update. By the way, there are Twitch drops which are going on today. I think this is one of the last days of the Twitch drops. We'll be streaming all day, and also we'll be doing the air event. So if you have any questions, or if you want to talk about any of this stuff, of course, that's what we're here for. So look after yourselves. Let me know what you think of the leaks. I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.